Hello everyone, welcome to another Power Talk with Archana. This is your platform to reach out to the stars. Plan your success with me, Archana, as I lead you, inspire you, and support you to unleash your passion and expertise. I coach you and mentor you to achieve your success goals and help you carve your dream life you've always dreamt for. Welcome to my world as I collaborate with business leaders from across the world. Let's meet one such enterprising business leader today, Lin Tan. Lin is a part of my professional network and based in Singapore. Lin serves as the current president at the ICF Singapore chapter. She is one of 9 master certified coaches in Singapore and represents the top 5% worldwide. She brings over 4,000 work hours of coaching experience into her work with organizations and individuals. She turns ordinary people into extraordinary coach and has pledged her life to coaching. An awardee of Top 101 Global Coaching Leader Award 2020 by the World HRD Congress, she is also a contributor to Forbes Coaches Council. She believes in her dreams and lead by example. Let's welcome Lin Tan on board. Hello Lin, how are you doing?
Hi Archana, thank you for this opportunity. I'm fine, thank you. Very excited.
We are very excited too because we have the master of the trade today with us, serving as the president of the ICF Singapore chapter with a vast and huge rich experience in coaching yourself and a master certified ICF certified coach yourself. Tell us, what are those 10 things you would look for in a good coach?
Wow. So Archana, I'm gonna go with 7 things because coaches have a lot of things to think about as they're already working with people. But I will cover the top 7 things which I believe a good coach needs to have. So the first one is it's a bit more practical. It is the ability to communicate very clearly how coaching works. Because coaching is different from mentoring, from counseling, and so the client and the coach needs to know their role so that the partnership can work. So that's the first commandment. The second commandment is to separate yourself from your client. You know, don't try to live vicariously through your client. Don't try to make your client do what you think is the best or what you would do. Honor the client as their own and their best person for themselves. So being able to draw that line between the coach and the client. Yeah. The third commandment is to withhold assumptions. So biases and prejudices or labels can come in very fast when we first meet our client or when we hear their challenge at hand. And it's very easy to just assume and project what we think we understand about the client and their situation. But that damages trust very, very fast. So it is okay to ask questions. It is you will never look stupid or dumb because it's worse to assume. And if you do that enough, the client feels that they're not recognized. They feel that they're unheard. And after a while, they will just give up on the partnership altogether. Okay, the fourth commandment is to demonstrate your commitment to the client. And so sometimes we tend not to express enough how we feel about the client. We don't communicate enough our stand for the client. We kind of assume that the client knows because there's a contract and there's a partnership. So don't forget to often and consistently communicate your commitment to the client. They would appreciate that. Okay, the fifth one is to be real and honest in your expression. So, you know, sometimes clients might ask us our opinion, or they will ask us what we think, and sometimes you may not agree. It's okay to just be honest about how you feel. As long as you separate yourself from the client to say, these are my thoughts or this is my immediate reaction. But the worst thing is to lie about it, because if you don't believe the client can do it, but you say you do, the client can hear that.
Right? True. Right.
So being very real and honest. Now, number 6 is about being very clear about the change that is needed. So as we work with the client on their goals, we have to unpack what is the change that the client needs to move from point A to point B. It's not only enough to know what the goal is, but what is the change that the client needs to undergo to achieve that goal, and how would that change come about? So when the client is very clear about the change that they are expecting from themselves, they have essentially sold themselves into the change process, and that's half your job done.
Absolutely.
Okay, we are on to the last one. So the last one is about having the clients paint their best selves. So this is a conversation that takes place around who they envision themselves to be at their next level. Coaching isn't only focused on the goal or the very tangible outcome, but it's important that the client sees in their mind's eye who they are as their best self. And they can describe that, because when they are clear about who they are working towards becoming, it allows us coaches to call out on them when it's happening or when it's not happening, right? So it is that picture that both coach and client know are working towards. So those are the 7 commandments. What do you think?
Lovely. I think you're very right there, Lynn. You know, it's all about that communication, that transparency, and it has to be more of a dialogue, as you rightly said. You need to be heard and you want to hear them out. You know, it has to be a collaboration, one of its kind, so that you see the transition in them. They're very clear who they are talking to, and you very well know what this client wants. And that is when that transition happens, and you can see through it. And when you see through it, you can actually be very happy with what works with your client. Great. I think this is really amazing. You know, so we have coaches, we have mentors, but I feel there is a quite a lot of difference between the two, you know, verticals going side by side, you know, parallelly running. You know, so how do you draw the line between a coach or a mentor? What do you think what are those things that make two of these very different from one another?
You're right, there are parallels, but they're actually very different. So in a nutshell, a mentor might utilize coaching skills in mentoring the person, but it is seldom that a coach uses mentoring skills to coach a person.
Very right.
So very distinct skill sets. A mentor comes from more experience in having walked that path, and therefore are able to share that knowledge, or they know best practices, or they are able to open up doors you know, for the person, for the mentee. But a coach is not an expert in the person's journey, may not even be an expert in the industry or the kind of work, but a coach is an expert in the change process. So they come from two very separate places. Their skill sets might look quite similar in terms of listening, questioning, trust building, but where they come from is very different. So that's what I think would be the difference.
No, you're quite right. You see, mentoring is absolutely a different ball game. It's like completely hand-holding the person, and also a lot of personal experiences get weaved into the process. You know, it's more of an open, you know, kind of an interaction that happens at a very, very deep level. You know, it's like, you know, you're there, eat, sleep, drink, you know, completely on those thoughts to make it work for your client. It's a different ball game for sure. Lovely, Lynn. I think that's a wonderful thing that you have said. There is indeed a lot of difference between the two parallels and very different industries, and but affect your client in a very different way. Very rightly said. All right. Now, when we move on further, you know, we realize that you stepped it into this profession very early in life. You were quite an independent woman yourself. I remember you were hardly 19 when you started, because you were so influenced by your own coach. Now, what are those thoughts you would like to share with the budding entrepreneur, the women entrepreneur today? What are those things they need to keep in mind to, you know, when they want to step into entrepreneurship? How would you like to coach women on those fronts?
Achana, I love this question. I think women are absolutely powerful. They have so many innate abilities that they may or may not know, that is waiting to be tapped into. And becoming an entrepreneur just plays up and leverages on all these innate abilities that a woman has. For example, women are great at multitasking. I don't care what research says or what the world says about how you can't multitask. Seriously, especially those who are mothers, you would know that women are fantastic at multitasking. And in business, you always have to multitask. Wear one hat and be absolutely great at it because you have so many wheels spinning in the business. So the first one is a woman's ability to multitask and spread her attention across and still nail everything. The second one is a very powerful ability, which is empathy. Because when we work with people, when we sell them services, when we deliver the services, when we do our customer service, so much of it is being able to tap into the empathy and express it. So I think that ability to bring emotions into business, which tends to be, practical and money making. No, but people at the end of the day, they buy people. And they buy if they relate to you. So I think that's the second superpower that women have. So I would say for any budding women entrepreneur, the first key thing is to know what you're passionate about and follow it. A lot of people out there are very concerned about, can I make money with my passion? But you can make money and not go far if you're not passionate about what you're selling. After a while, you would find, or you would feel a certain emptiness. When you're passionate about something, you would find all ways to bring that passion out because you absolutely believe that it can change people. And that passion is going to keep you becoming better and better at what you do. You will keep finding better ways to reach out, to communicate what you do. And it's going to give you that lasting power that you need, that the business world needs. So that's my key advice for any woman who wants to step out and do her business.
Absolutely. I'm sure women will be able to relate to this quite a lot. It's all about the transformation they need to see in their perspectives, And once they come to terms with it, I'm sure they can make it big. It's just about getting started, plunging into it, not over analyzing things, and just believe in yourself, because if it's your passion, you can definitely make it big. Absolutely right, Lin. Lin, talking about transformation, you have 4,000 working hours with different clients and organization, huge experience out there. So how do you gauge people that, yes, I have transformed this person, this client, from what he had come to me to what he is today? What is transformation for you? How do you gauge it?
Wow. Okay. I would answer that from a more technical standpoint. Okay, so transformation happens in two phases. The first phase is a shift. And we're talking about an entire person shifting. So we are made up of three main faculties: our intellect, our emotions, and our physical body. And a shift happens when all three things are impacted and they change at the same time. So it's not enough to have a good idea, but not feel it. That's not a shift. That's an idea. It's not good enough to have an emotional outburst or to what do you call that? A cathartic experience. And cry. But if your perspective didn't shift, it's not enough. Now, if those two things happen, but your actions lack and they don't impact the real world, it's still not a shift. It's an internal feel, but you're not impacting something external. So when all these three things happen at the same time, a person shifts. Now, that's not enough. If you talk about, so that's a shift, but if you talk about transformation, it is a longer term game, which means that with this shift, a person is able to impact their reality consistently, continuously, until that new reality becomes a norm. Then that is transformation. They have officially moved up to the next level. They're comfortable there. They are confident there. There isn't an exit door to slip down to the first level again. That's when you know that a transformation has happened.
Absolutely. I totally loved this and completely endorse you on this. I think it's very important once you have made up your mind and you are actually living the shift you have made in your life. That is when transformation has happened. Otherwise, it has not happened. It's just like, something like knowledge and learning. You have so much of knowledge, but you haven't learned anything about it. If you haven't learned, you will not be able to imbibe it in your life, in your system, and you will not benefit. So it's just about, you live the transformation that has been, that has happened to you with the coaching and the mentoring that takes place all along. Great, amazing. So Lynn, tell me, I mean, you are talking about creating that shift for people, that transformation for people. Have you ever felt a pull of stress in your life? How do you push it away?
Wow. Yes, I experienced huge stress when I became a mother. So I'm a mom of two
Oh,
young girls. One is
wow.
1.5 years old and one is 4 years old. So the first 1 year of motherhood was it was crazy. My whole world was turned upside down. And
Yeah.
suddenly priorities change. I have changed. There's hormones, there's new family responsibilities, and at the same time, at that time when I gave birth, my business doubled. So I suddenly had more clients to deal with. So I was going through a lot of stress, and I had reached my wit's end. After the first few months, I said, I really don't know what to do anymore. Every day, I try to innovate myself. I try to think differently. I try different strategies to cope, but it's a lot. It's a big change in a person's life.
It
So
is.
the way that I dealt with it, which is how I deal with most of other sources of stress, is to first and foremost accept. It took me a long time
Yeah.
to accept that this is my life. I realized that I kept
Mm.
comparing it to 10 years ago when I could work 20 hours in a day and I would feel very sore about it. And all this comparison, this bitterness is what added to the stress. The situation
Yeah.
itself technically is manageable, but it's all these emotions that are sort of unnecessary that I was causing in
Yeah.
myself that caused the stress. So acceptance was a big part of that journey. And
Yeah.
when I can take the time to
Mm.
see it for what it is and accept that this is what I'm going through, it helps to detach me,
Yeah.
and to kind of break it down into smaller parts to deal with instead of collapse the whole
Yeah.
thing into a huge mountain that is difficult to
Yeah.
climb.
Yeah. Very right. I think it's very important to create a ecosystem around you the moment you feel, there is something that needs immediate attention, because you really can't spread yourself beyond a certain point. So you need an ecosystem around you that functions on your behalf just the way you would do. Very rightly said. Tell me one thing, Lynn. I mean, what is it, that one thing that really makes you happy?
A lot of things make me happy, Achana. It's very difficult to answer. Um,
Yeah.
I think pertaining to my coaching journey, what makes
Yeah.
me really happy and inspires me and fulfills me is seeing the coaches that I train change.
Yeah.
Where they come in thinking that they're learning skill sets, but when they apply it on themselves and to their relationships around them, and they see how it works, um, their eyes light up. Their life, their way
Yeah.
of living, their understanding of how they live has changed. And
Wow.
I absolutely love that. That gives me meaning to just keep doing what I do.
Lovely, lovely. Great. Indeed, I think that is a lot of satisfaction, gratification you get out of good work that you see in others when you have made it happen. Amazing. Tell me, who inspires you, Lynn?
My clients, my students, my friends who are also friends, also meaning my team, the team whom I work with. When I see people making changes in their lives, I feel inspired. I feel so happy for them as well. I'm very moved by the human
Yeah,
spirit that they embody. Um, that that keeps me going.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Great, lovely. Thank you so much, Lynn. Thanks for sharing your professional and personal side of your life. We thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm sure a lot of people are listening to this and will make benefit out of this conversation and get better in their job for sure. We are looking forward to have many more coaches being churned out from your institute, from your experience, and the love and affection you pour into your work. I'm sure there's lots in store for those budding coaches. We wish you all the best and stay happy and a very happy life to you.
I wish you all the best as well, Achana, in your work, and thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Have a wonderful life. That was Lin Tan for you. What an amazing, lively conversation out there. And to share the love of mentoring and coaching with her has been something really exceptional. To see the clients transform with the help of our coaching and mentoring is a gift in itself. I hope you really go through the conversation we've had, learn and pick up points to become better coaches and mentors. I wish all of you the very best and stay tuned for more.